notice from the British Boxing Board of Control that Conor Benn was asked to attend a hearing last Friday, the 21st of October, to explain the adverse findings from his VADA test before the postponed fight, as it turned out, with Chris Eubank Jr. In the notice, it said that Conor Benn had voluntarily relinquished his British Boxing Board of Control boxer's licence on the morning of the hearing. And from what we can tell from the language, it appears he didn't attend the hearing itself. He gave up his licence. His legal representatives were there. And the board made a decision on the allegations of misconduct they charged Benn with in his absence, now we believe. And following the hearing, they decided that the allegations would be upheld. Conor Benn's misconduct, that's what they decided. But also the main kind of story from this is that Conor Benn has, from what they've said, no comment from Benn himself just yet, has voluntarily relinquished his British Boxing Board of Control licence. Now, what does this mean for the future for him? Can he still box? Yes, perhaps in other countries he'll be able to, if he can get licensed from the various governing bodies over there. If it's in the US, for example, it's federal, so it's on a state level. Different state commissions will grant or deny a license as and when appropriate if he wants to fight in that particular state. And then other countries have their own governing bodies as well. Could he still fight in the UK? Potentially, if it was under the auspices of a different governing body, not the widely recognised British Boxing Board of Control. We've seen other bodies stage shows here or sanction shows here. But that would mean, if he's still going to be promoted by Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, that would mean that Conor Benn will not be able to fight on board shows. And would Eddie Hearn then decide to use a different sanctioning body for any of his shows? Seems unlikely, hasn't done it previously. And although there were talks or rumours of that happening for the Eubank Jr. fight, it never actually came to fruition. Eddie Hearn made it clear that when push came to shove, he didn't want to stage a show with a different governing body, and his ties with the board have always been pretty strong. So it kind of leaves Conor Benn with a few decisions to make, perhaps in no man's land as we speak now. Obviously, we heard from him on Instagram not too long ago, hoping that the ultimate apology would be as loud or louder than the disrespect he feels he's had. He has seemingly been tried already in the court of public opinion. But I guess the counter argument to that is that we've had no public statement from Conor Benn, very little clarity from him or his team about exactly how they plan to clear his name. Will the B sample be opened? Is that, a possibility of contamination? Haven't heard anything about that. And perhaps, going forward, is there a reason, some sort of reason why clomiphene was found in his system in the VADA test, other than, intentionally cheating? Presumably there may be some more innocent explanation, but again, we haven't been given any details of that, and that could be because legal processes are ongoing. But what we can say for sure is that right now, Conor Benn does not have a British Boxing Board of Control licence, cannot appear on a boxing show in a competitive capacity on any boxing show sanctioned by British Boxing Board of Control, and the allegations against him of misconduct stemming from the adverse finding in the VADA test leading up to the Chris Eubank Jr. contest have been upheld by the Board of Control. And yeah, where it goes from here, we shall see. But that is pretty big news and a pretty big development for the career of a fighter who's a huge ticket seller and on the verge, perhaps, of world title action. It appears that if that's going to continue, that world title action may have to take place outside of the United Kingdom.